This is Laura from Africa, aka Rogan Osborne, back at you with another video. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about men who have difficult relationships with their mothers. And I'm going to be uploading this video pretty late here, guys, a bit because I'm having a bad sinus problem. I have congestion right now, so my nose is brutal right now, messing up the way I speak somewhat. And work has been crazy here, but I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm keeping strong here. You guys do the same. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. You know, when you're a man that's grew up in a household with a mother that disrespects you, she disregarded your opinions a lot. She really didn't let you do anything for you to have some type of independence as a man. She always had to clock and watch your every move. She always had to know what you're doing. And this subsequently has created some type of, deep insecurities within you as a guy, if you went through this. And I'm sure a good amount of men have went through this. So, if you're a guy that was unlucky and grew up in a household with a mother who was very neglectful to you, she shamed you a lot for trying to be different and go out here in the world and be a man, then you can especially guarantee that when you get out here into the real world and call yourself dating, it's not going to go well. Every dating potential partner that you're calling yourself wanting is going to be another disaster waiting on you. And yes, I said it because we have to look at the pattern here. This is a ground zero scenario of men who are truly broken inside, and this is from where it starts from. This is a big BP that I'm dropping because you have to look at this even goes beyond having good looks. Even Brad and Chad can't even be saved from this by their looks alone or their money or status, dude. Like, for example, you have someone like Johnny Depp who had a pretty good career when he was growing up. He not only looked good to people, he had a pretty good acting career, etc. But what was the one ingredient that he was missing that really deterred his dating life from not being a hit? The relationship he had with his mother. And you can look up how Johnny Depp described the relationship with his mother. Very distant, very abusive, a lot of disrespect that he had to tolerate from her at a young age. So this goes beyond just having looks or, money. Because you can have all that and then you end up like Johnny Depp meeting a woman like Amber Heard. So you see, the foundation of the emotional nurturing that you get from your mother is really going to decide the type of women that you are going to be attracted to and the type of women that are going to be attracted to you, if any, at this point. But, generally speaking, you understand what I'm saying. Every encounter that you're going to have with a chick from then on, if you had a horrible relationship with your mother, it's going to end in a very bad way for you, and it's never going to work out. You know, I don't mean to sound like a downer Daryl here, but this is just how it is for a lot of men. And you see so many men try to scapegoat and say that they really don't want to talk about this issue, especially in the manosphere. Whenever we bring up, emotional, hard hitting topics like this, because this hits too hard at home for them. Because a lot of these men that you see in the manosphere community, they were abused at a young age. They were disrespected. They were really overlooked by their mothers. So when they get older, they have to exude this type of fake masculinity to keep them going. This is why we have all of these so-called typical alphas out here who want to just be looked at as these kings. And this is where it all comes from. The man having to wear a mask. You have to wake up every day feeling insecure. You're always trying to make up for something because of that lack of that connection you didn't have with your mother. And I could even take it further than that. If you had just female figures in your family in general, even if you didn't have your biological mother around, let's say you had female cousins, sisters, if you have any, if you have an aunt, if any of these women disrespected you and They overlooked how you felt about things, and they forced you to do things that really went against your goodwill and character. Then when you get older, you're never going to be able to mentally and emotionally connect with any woman either. Same applies with your mother, etc., because it all ties in. So you get what I'm saying here. Because you have to look at those young days to where you're developing around females in general. Your mother is going to be the first person that you come across, along with your grandmother, your aunts, etc. They are going to be the first females that you interact with. And if all of them are toxic, you can guarantee that you are going to have nothing but toxic experiences in your dating life. I mean, it works vice versa with women. If they didn't have a close relationship with their father, if he wasn't present, if he was absent from her life, and you guys have seen the interviews I did back in the day, asking some of these women these questions, and most of them said, yes, I didn't have a close relationship with my father. And and look at them, they're all into feminism. They have some type of, disdain towards a lot of men out here, and that's just the way it is. The relationship that you have with your parent is really going to have ripple hole and effects in your dating life for both men and women. And in the case of this video, if you're a man who has had a very distant relationship from your mother, then you can forget about ever having a normal dating life. Now, do you have the men out here, the rarity, who will somehow pull it off? But you need to understand why it's called a rarity in the first place. You're not going to get it in the first place, most likely because it's rare. That's the definition of it. It's very rare. So when you're a guy that's growing up in this type of situation, you need to look at this for what it is. And these are the type of topics and conversations that we need to be having more as men, so we can start to look at these things and be able to somewhat move past these things and understand why we're in the place that we're in, you see? Because we need to start verbalizing these things. So being mistreated by your mother, dude, it's a really rough pill to swallow. And all of the times to where you could have exuded some type of independence, masculinity in a healthy way as a man, your mother most likely stops you from doing it, and she really just discouraged you from doing things that really would have been in your well-being, to make you more independent and to make you have a more solid mind for when it comes to dealing with, modern women out here. So sadly, the case is for the younger generation of men, they are most likely growing up in homes to where they're misinformed about the type of storm that they're going to be up against. And I guarantee you as well, if any of these men, most likely, right, have just difficult relationships with their mothers, they're not going to ever have good dating lives. I don't care what anyone says. You're not going to have a good dating life because the patterns, all of the things that you go through at a young age, your subconscious mind is taking that in as a sponge. And at that age, around, from 3 to 9, your subconscious is taking in a lot. So if you're taking in a lot of neglect, disrespect, pain, I'm not good enough, if you're taking that in from a female figure that's around you guys, I mean, that pretty much tells you that's the end of the road right there. At the beginning, it never even began at that point. So you can forget about ever having a normal, good dating life if you're a man who had a very distant and fractured relationship with his mother. And I don't tell you that to be just a grim type of person. I tell you this to just show you where the symptom is coming from, to why you're in this position now, to where you're at emotionally as well. This is a big part of it. So you have to take that for what it is and see how you're going to learn how to live with that pain. You're going to have to learn how to really integrate that within your daily life. And you have to face that. So for all the men out here who grew up with mothers who neglected them, they really didn't get to share their opinion in a healthy manner, and they were never considered, my heart goes out to you. It truly does. But you have to take this for what it is, and you have to learn to really grow with this type of stuff, dude. because it really will hurt you for the rest of your life and your dating life tremendously. But you guys take care. Like and subscribe if you're new. Tell me what else you guys want me to elaborate on in the comment sections. I would highly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And like I always tell you guys, stay away from the modern women. Thank you.